time for the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
All right, hello again, everybody, and welcome. Patrick Johnson Show, a busy one for you today. We're going to have Mike Mullis on to talk about the initiative Beat ALS and the wake of the Chris Johnson news. It's coming up in a few minutes. We'll talk some baseball, but right now let's do our top 5 at 5 on this Tuesday.
This may very well be our last mission. Let's make it count.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
It's impossible.
Now some stories you may have heard
You ready?
or catch it for the first time. This is your 5 at 5 with the P-Man.
Hang on, Bill. Hang on. Got to do everything. I need an IGO staff. Got to cast 1,000. That's what I need.
Number one.
Having to do too much.
I know.
Really,
we need...
when we start the new season, I want a staff. Can
Okay.
we work on that? Can we get
A full
people
staff?
to do stuff so I have to do? I don't even need I don't need an IGO staff. I just need we need an extra set of tour hands.
We will have some
That's all.
full-time interns, so that will help.
Okay.
All righty,
It
number
ain't what it used to be. It pays now. So, all right, what do we
Yeah.
got?
All righty, number 1, ECU has landed a new pitcher. We weren't able to get to this yesterday in the wake of all the Chris Johnson news. Danny Sahaki comes to the Pirates from Northern Illinois, where he threw a team-high 92 2/3 last year with a 7-3 record, a 5.34 ERA. He was out of the bullpen a couple years ago with the Huskies, and he led the team in saves that season with 5. So he has done it out of the bullpen as well as in a starting role.
Well, I think you like the versatility. Nick Moran also was a Friday night guy, if I'm not mistaken, came from Liberty. And Nick ended up being a Swiss Army knife guy. He also had some shoulder trouble, so I don't think it's fair to say that that was a letdown. But, I mean, the pitching was so good on the weekend. On paper, and especially to start the year, he was not some guy that was going to end up being a weekend starter, per se, like he was at Liberty. Who knows what will happen with Sahaki, but I think one thing has been proven over the last few years: you need to have pitching depth, and that has been an area that has plagued ECU a little bit the last few years because it seems like just naturally here or anywhere, guys are going to get banged up. That's just kind of the way it is. So you got to have some arms. You got to have some versatile arms out of the pen.
Number 2.
Number 2, a huge Supreme Court ruling.
By the way, more on that with Mike Mullis coming up. I'm sorry.
Huge ruling in the Supreme Court today that protects women's sports all over the country. They did pass the court case saying that states can ban men athletes from competing in women's sports at the high school and other amateur ranks.
Well, I don't like the way you phrase that. I mean, basically, biological males who believe they're women participating in women's sports, that's common sense. Now, the Supreme Court has deemed that this is something that states can move. Now, where this becomes interesting, if it is a states' rights issue, is which wackadoodle states out there are going to continue to let this happen? And will our own wackadoodle athletic association continue to let this happen? I think back to the kid who suffered a concussion, the young lady out in the western part of the state because a trans volleyball player drove a ball into her skull. It had no business out there playing with the women. So hopefully with a leadership change in that realm in North Carolina, those sort of things will get remedied. But basically now, this is just common sense to me. And then you can't be someone who claims you're for equality and inclusion, and you're perverting women's sports with guys who think they're. It's just give them their own league. Let's start a trans league if this is this pressing. I have a boys team, I have a girls team, I have a trans team.
I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't know how many teams you're going to have, but
Well,
hey, sorry, you might have to travel a long ways, but that's your choice.
And your athletic director's going to pull their hair out because that's just more expense, needless expense. I mean, how is this an issue that goes to the Supreme Court? How?
Because common sense ain't common. Common sense ain't common, PJ.
It's just disgusting. It's what it is.
3.
Number 3, earlier today, LeBron James told the Lakers that they can move on with their off-season roster construction without him. He does not intend to retire. He does want to play in the 26-27 season, but he does not intend to do it with the Los Angeles Lakers.
So Beijing leaves his talentless kid behind. Maybe the Lakers will cut him now. Maybe that'll be the case. This move was kind of put in motion a couple of years ago with the trade and all of that because LA looked like they were setting themselves up for a game plan in life after Beijing. I'm very curious to see where he lands. You know, the big talk is Golden State. So you'd have Draymond Green, you'd have little Steph Curry, you'd have Beijing, and then they want to add Anthony Davis. And I saw this great
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Who could stop these guys, and it would be arthritis. And here's the stupid thing about this. It is going to be if that group is there to start 25 games together during the regular season, it'll be a miracle because they're brittle. That's assuming he goes there. By the way, why are your Celtics trying to trade Brown? What's up with that?
I think he just kind of went out of it mentally when he found out that he was going to be part of the Giannis deal had it gone through, and I think he wants out. I think he's kind of wanted out for a while, and this is more of a reason for him to say, hey, you don't care about me anymore, Corey. You try to deal me for Giannis. So I think maybe just the deal has ran its course. It's unfortunate. I think he's a great player. I think he and Tatum could go on to do great things, but you know how much entitled jerks these guys are now. They get upset over the stupidest little thing, and he doesn't want to be the number 2.
He ain't Giannis.
No.
I mean, that's
yeah, and these guys are too arrogant and big-headed to realize that crap, and that's the problem with the NBA and a lot of other sports nowadays.
Where does Beijing wind up? If you had to guess.
Well, as of right now, I'd say the Wizards because he said he wants to play with Anthony Davis. Now, he'll probably end up in Miami or some crap.
You don't think Golden State?
I think it'd put rear ends in seats for about 4 games.
Yeah, maybe.
4.
Number 4, sticking on the hard court, Kager Knippel Young.
What will ABC do on Christmas Day if they can't make us suffer through Lakers and Golden State? I guess we'd still suffer through it because it'd be Beijing against his old team.
Yeah, that's what it'll be. We'll be watching the NFL on Netflix, I guess.
4.
All righty, number 4, Kager Knippel, younger brother to Con Knippel, number 28 recruit in the 2027 high school class, has committed to his brother's, I guess you can't say alma mater because he didn't graduate from there, but his brother's former team, the Duke Blue Devils.
Alma mater. No, he's an alma mater. Sandy Bullock, we claim her as an alma mater at ECU. She didn't graduate.
Yeah, okay. All right. Makes sense.
She didn't graduate.
She doesn't claim us.
Came close. I know, but we claim her. Why not?
True.
6'10" can shoot. I talked to Coach about this today. He tells me that he's, according to the numbers, 50% from 3 on the AAU circuit. Now, granted, it's the AAU circuit. That's probably also a pretty high-level AAU circuit. He's not playing in the participation league of AAU. He's playing probably in the big boy AAU.
Yeah, and those gyms, you got to think, PJ, depth perception is probably about the same in those gyms as it is Cameron.
They keep what Shire keeps doing is pretty amazing. It really is. It's amazing what he has kept rolling there with the acquisition side of things, and they can get anybody they want. Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean he's picked up right where Kay left off. He just needs to learn how to coach with a lead in the second half and knows how to feed the hot hand instead of feed the guy who's got a better draft stock next to his name.
I knew you would start slamming his coaching as soon as I gave him a compliment. I knew you would.
Hey, it's good radio.
All right. How are we doing on time? What are we doing here on time?
We've got about 4 minutes left, so.
Oh, I didn't realize we had this much time left. All right.
5.
Alrighty, number 5. Speaking of the NBA, a lot of NBA on this. Most NBA we've ever talked, PJ, on this show. I would say that.
Seemingly.
Yeah.
Seemingly.
The Hornets did make a trade over the weekend. Another thing we didn't have time to get to yesterday. They have dealt Miles Bridges, which means they have offloaded a bunch of money to the Phoenix Suns. In return, they got Royce O'Neal and former Duke Blue Devil Grayson Allen. They also received a first-round pick in 2023. This now gives them 3 first-round draft picks, PJ, in 2033 is what I meant to say. This now gives them 3 first-round draft picks in 2033. Of course, their own. They have the Timberwolves due to the LaMelo trade, and they now have the aforementioned Phoenix Suns first-round pick in that season as well.
We're going to have Travis Hancock on tomorrow. What is going on in Charlotte? They have their first really decent team in a decade. And there was some excitement going into the play-in, a lot of buzz in Buzz City, and they've traded Ball, who was a pain in the ass, and now they've traded Bridges. So they've traded 2 really good players, and I'm not so sure what they got in return. Now, you often hear somebody's going to run a trick play. Well, they run a trip play involving Grayson Allen.
Hey, there you go.
That was a good one. That was a good rim shot.
There you go. So look, here's the thing, PJ. I think they wanted Bridges out. Look, he is a locker room cancer. They were paying him too much, and for the safety of every friend and family member of him that lives in Charlotte and young woman on the street, you don't want to see him hitting anybody. So now he can go hit people in Phoenix. So that was their mindset. Get him to another city, I guess, because he's a punk. He's not a good dude, and that was the point there. You're getting him out, and I think this is good. I don't agree with the Melo trade. I do agree with this one.
CBS Sports has the top landing spots for Beijing being Golden State, Cleveland, Miami, interestingly enough, and San Antonio. If you're the Spurs, you don't make that move, do you?
You make it only if you tell him, look, if you're here truly to chase the championship and you don't care how much you play, if we tell you you're the 12th man, you're the 12th man, and you promise you won't be any sort of distraction being the 12th man, we'd love to have you as part of our team, help mentor our young guys. You're a hell of a player. You're in the GOAT conversation, but don't talk to us about playing time. When your rear sees the floor, it sees the floor. That's up to the coach. It's not up to you. And if he says okay, you sign him.
If you're him, you want to go to either Miami or San Antonio because then you save on taxes.
Well, and you can get a ring if you go to San Antonio. I mean, What is he doing? Is he ring chasing? Does he just want to play? It's up to him. If he just wants to see time on the court, that's fine. Go somewhere with a bad team. If he just wants to play with AD, that's cool. Go to Washington. If you want to chase a ring, call San Antonio up and say, give me whatever my minimum is. I'll be your 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th man even. Probably would be the 9th, honestly. He's good enough to probably be a 9th man still on a team like that, and you go hang out for a little while.
Of those 4 teams, though, Golden State's the worst.
I mean, the Wizards are the worst.
But he's not talking about going there.
Oh, out of the teams, yeah. The Wizards.
Yeah,
Golden State's the worst out of Cleveland, Miami.
Right, because Cleveland, there's still some ceiling. Obviously, San Antonio and obviously Miami. All right, it is the ramp up to America's 250th birthday. We're going to talk with Mike Mullis coming up on the other side here on this Tuesday Patrick Johnson Show. So stay with us.
Listen up. He's talking now.
Sorry, thought we were vibing.
The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back. Nice to have you with us here on this Tuesday edition, not midweek, Tuesday edition. Patrick Johnson Show. We're nearing the season finale. We have some great guests coming up over the next several days, some of our favorites, including right now, Tuesdays with Mully. Mike Mullis with us here, ESPN Plus college baseball analyst. Coach Mullis, how are you, sir?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
Doing well. Life is good. I think we're all still a little processing the Chris Johnson news from Monday. And, the other thing I'll say, and I mentioned this on the show yesterday, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to have you on. You're involved with the group Beat ALS, which has been around a while, but I guess is sort of taking on a new incarnation in a sense. And we showed a few months back for the vast video audience the great shot of a presenting of a mobility chair at the ECU NC State game that you all did. And I know you guys have done some other presentations and some things since then. And so when we think of the Chris Johnson news from yesterday, and then think about just how ALS has affected this community in so many different ways, I felt it would be it'd be poignant to have you on, and I did want to also hear about some of the successes of trying to spread that organization's reach into this community as well.
Yeah, man, I appreciate the platform, and man, honestly, our founder Matt Stillwell, a guy who played baseball for Coach LeClaire, and then the time I got to spend with Coach, and that was kind of our common bond that brought this team together, and um, it's it's opportunities like this where ALS is to put it in the words of a family member that lost an ALS patient. She said this. She said, ALS patients don't typically get to tell their story, largely because of the rapid decline and ultimate loss to the disease. So, we kind of take that torch and run with it. And it's so interesting, P, that as the news broke and I had numerous folks reaching out, just kind of in disbelief and surprise at all the things. And then in an effort to make me aware and then also saying, maybe this is the thing that puts them over the top to get involved. Yesterday was an extremely busy day from that standpoint. But when you see a hero, a guy that most here recognize as being a football great, a guy that will peak physical condition, still a young man at 39 years old, a young family, you go, the perception of ALS so often is that it is a quote unquote older person's disease. Well, if we look back to just Keith LeClaire, we lost him at 39, and Trip Nelson, who we lost in February, a guy that was still a young man, Nelson Cooper, just so many that just have touched this community. So, the loss of Chris Johnson, I say the loss, I apologize, the diagnosis of Chris Johnson and then his coming forward to talk about it, demonstrated the fact that the light has to be shed a little more brightly on a disease that can be so immediately debilitating and so impactful, not only on the patient but the family. And so, it's platforms like this. It's an opportunity to talk about it. It's an opportunity to reach out and kind of a cry for help and understand that in the fight to research any type of cure for any type of disease, be it cancer, ALS, whatever it may be, the answer is money, PJ, and it takes dollars to move mountains in these worlds, and you're talking lots of dollars, and so there's mechanisms out there, be it us with Beat ALS, it's Nelson Cooper's crowd has a foundation, Coop Strong. There are a number of avenues that if people want to get involved, the opportunities there, and I can promise you, speaking for our situation, yes, we want to push money to research, but we more immediately want to be able to impact the quality of life for the patient, for the families, and just kind of try to lighten the burden a little bit, if you will. And this isn't a plea for help for Chris Johnson financially. If he needs it, we certainly would be willing to answer. But this is Chris Johnson going out on the most public of platforms, shining a light on this dreaded disease and saying, we need help. We need funding for research. We need funding for, again, quality of life. It's when you're dealing with these diseases, basically the answer to every question is money.
Mike Mullis with us here this afternoon on the Patrick Johnson Show. Last week, you all held a golf event. It was the Maiden Voyage, and it was just something you guys were getting off the ground and getting going, and you were able to raise some funds, raise some awareness, and had some participation from some great outlets locally. And then I think the real drawing card was you all had kind of a social event afterwards with your colleague in this group, and his vocation as a singer songwriter. It actually ended up being a pretty cool evening out in Greenville.
Yeah, you know what, P? The biggest thing we had a golf tournament in all in honor again of Trip Nelson and Trip. Again lost him in February. I think what was provided in that day, and it was a full day into the evening, was therapy for the family. It was really really amazing, very heartwarming. Uh, just incredible to watch this group of loved ones get together in tribute to somebody that they love so much. And then to see community members that didn't know Trip, but in belief of the mission and whatever their tie might have been to ALS, to come out and play golf at Greenville Country Club. Then go back to tiebreakers, and as you mentioned, my colleague partner in this, Matt Stillwell, singer songwriter out of the Tennessee, Nashville, Knoxville kind of combination area. But Matt played to a packed house at Tiebreakers, man, and it was it was a time of remembrance. It was a time of opportunity to again raise funds to go towards all the things that I mentioned earlier. It was there were tears of remembrance. There are also tears of joy and great stories, and just folks being together. And again, with the way this disease has a tendency to progress, it happens so quickly that a lot of times preparation is very difficult. And then once the finality becomes real. The back end of it is almost you go into a vacuum and just kind of try to catch your breath. And so it was great to be able to provide that, the venue, the opportunity, again the golf tournament. The folks at Greenville Country Club, Rob Farmer and his staff were extremely gracious hosts, and Bram Anderson and the good folks at Tiebreaker, same thing. So it wasn't the largest golf tournament I've ever been involved in, but it was certainly the right group of people, the right sentiment, the right feeling and energy around it. And again, as we headed into the evening, the crowd probably tripled as we went back and enjoyed listening to some good music and tributes being paid to multiple ALS patients.
Mike Mullis with us here. Mike, what are some upcoming events you all have?
Yeah, it's crazy. The calendar continues to get full as we have requests. August 1st, we're honoring two different ALS patients in Western North Carolina in Morganton with a what we call the hometown house party. It'll be a music and celebration of them and kind of in their honor. Both are still with us, so be a chance to get them out of the house and have a nice time. And then August 29th, we're doing a kind of quasi gala event in Raleigh. It'll be what we call the Hope Sessions, and be Matt Stillwell and a couple other singer songwriters will come in. And PJ, if you can remember the Storytellers, kind of the in the round from VH1 back in the day, where the singer songwriter plays their song and then tells their story, kind of that setup. A lot of folks listening will be familiar with Mike Santos, formerly in Greenville, now in Raleigh. Mike will actually be playing kind of as the quote unquote opening act, but will also be providing catering. So at a nice venue, Train at Seaboard. So that's coming up August 29th. We've got two other chair presentations, one in September and one in October, one in Clemson and one at Western Carolina Cullowhee. And so stay tuned. I mean, it's interesting. We started this thing kind of a leap of faith. PJ, you and I had a opportunity to spend 3 or 4 days together, kind of in close quarters on an assignment. Spent a lot of time talking about it, and man, you've kind of been there from the beginning and seen. And the beginning is still very, very close in the rearview mirror, but you've had the opportunity to kind of see from where we've come to where we're at and more excited where we're going. But again, everything we're trying to do, everything in the ALS foundations around the country are trying to do require funds. So anybody that feels so compelled this listening or watching this broadcast, find the one that you wish to support, and by all means, join the fight against ALS.
And Molly, what's a good way to learn more about this group?
Yeah, our website's super simple. It's beat-als.gives is our website. Again, it's beat-als.gives. Quite frankly, PJ, you know how I am. I'm fairly accessible. My cell phone number, if anybody wants to call and has questions or just wants to make a comment or shoot a text, 252-999-0001. That's from a lifetime of dealing with baseball players. We got to keep things kind of simple. So 252-39-3001.
All right, we're going to talk some baseball with Mike Mullis coming up next, but felt it was poignant to have him speak about the organization he's involved in light of the news from yesterday. All right, stay tuned. When we come back, we'll get into some baseball chat with Mike Mullis and a little bit of some of the things that have happened in the NCAA the last few weeks and how that'll impact the game. So stay tuned.
Beep, beep. Move over, Buttercup. We're back to the show.
They're back! And I love them!
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right. From the working man's beach, Surf City, as we get ready for the big America 250. And, of course, you got to love America.
This is America, Jack.
Damn right. That's what I say. Mike Mullis with us here. Molly, boy, you think about this time of year, this great nation, and you think baseball. Apple pie, fireworks, the whole nine. So let's talk a little baseball. I'd be really curious to get your assessment of some of the players that have been brought in by the ECU team so far. Just got a commitment from Northern Illinois' guy, Danny Sahaki. Love that. Sahaki. And he's the fifth transfer in as of yesterday. Got another right-hander out of Auburn, and then you've got your left side of the infield, and another option behind the plate, if not the option behind the plate, whenever the draft rolls around. So let's discuss that grouping for Cliff Godwin and company, and what you think of the player acquisition efforts so far in the offseason.
Yeah, man, we'll start maybe most recent with Sahaki. If nothing else, he brings a ton of experience just looking at the numbers. I don't know the young man. I look back. The first thing I did was look back to when the Pirates faced Northern Illinois earlier in the season to see if by chance he figured into that game, but he did not. But, a guy that comes in with a bunch of innings, he's been a guy that's not been afraid to take the ball in that kind of lead dog role, led the Huskies in innings this past season. So, a guy that comes in with some experience, if we kind of move down the line and think about, and again, I don't have their names committed to memory just yet. I'm kind of learning as you guys are, but always interesting when you bring in a player from a place like Young Harris, and it's going to be the acclimation to the speed of the game will be the key there. I know that super excited are the Pirates coaching staff about a couple of these freshman catcher, and then a couple North Carolina bats that are interesting guys, high levels of success throughout their high school and kind of prep career. So I get asked, quite frankly, all the time. What do we know about this kid? Well, man, the numbers look good. Well, I can promise you they've never gone out bringing one in thinking he looked bad. So I think it's they obviously feel good about where they're at. I will say, just talking to numerous college coaches, the portal class, if you will, the group of players in the portal was one of the thinner groups that we've seen to this date in the lifespan of the portal. So wondered if there's some leveling out of that, and obviously so many teams making moves to kind of solidify their rosters at the 34-man spot. So, does that have an impact over who's been asked to go into the portal? So, I think it'll be interesting as we go into it. I think more interesting will be to see what the American does as a conference on the baseball side. Do these teams continue to play the portal as heavy as we saw it, with a 50% roster turnover last year in a league that, quite frankly, was lackluster? That being reflected in only getting one team, not even your quote unquote co-champion, into the true postseason after the conference season. So, I think it'll be interesting. I also think if you look around globally at the game, that the interest in the I'm going to say the more marquee or the higher caliber high school player, I feel like is back, and again, just having conversations. And so many people, you heard Jay Johnson from LSU was the first to come out and make a comment that, hey man, we're kind of tired of these quote unquote showcase warriors that they check all the boxes analytically and metrically, but maybe have a gap in understanding how to play the game. So we'll see how it turns. We'll see what the differences are, um, and again, it's always exciting. I'm looking forward to late August when they get started and get back out, getting to learn the names and of the new guys and kind of see what they're all about, as well as just see where the progression is taking the returning guys.
We got Mike Mullis with us here on the Patrick Johnson Show today. Mully, before we get into some of that and roster construction, which is such a name of the game, I did want to mention, you've seen this with Duke basketball going back to the Mike Krzyzewski era, and you've seen this at other places, but the move to have former players on staff. East Carolina baseball's kind of entered that mode right now in a big way with Jake Agnos, Bryant Packard taking over as the hitting coach, and Thomas Francisco getting elevated. So let's get your thoughts on those moves, starting with the hometown product Packard.
Yeah, and we can kind of lump them into the same conversation, P. I think what we're seeing is what most of us probably already realized, that the most important thing to Cliff Godwin is to protect the culture that he has worked so hard to create here, that we've seen manifest itself in long postseason runs and great success in the regionals for basically the tenure of Coach Godwin. So I think that's what you see there. Both guys are technically capable. Both guys are obviously solid baseball people. They understand the game. They understand the lingo, the ebbs, the flows. They understand the use of technology and bringing along the modern player. I think that the question becomes game management. The kind of the things that kind of the veteran moves that you may see out of guys in those positions. We'll see how it wears. Kind of as the season progresses. But you got Jeff Palumbo here and all the experience he brings. You've got Cliff Godwin, obviously the maestro of this orchestra, and I think one of the best acquisitions from a staff standpoint that has been missed is the return of Easton Daly, and a guy that spent 5-6 seasons with the program before going to I believe it was Virginia Tech as their director of operations. He will return in that same role here at East Carolina, and I think really offer some stability in that role from the standpoint of understanding of travel, understanding of kind of keeping things fluid, how practice runs and practice setup, and all the things that go with it. So that's a name that you probably won't see on too many message boards as maybe a marquee quote unquote acquisition. But I got to tell you, I think he's another one of those culture pieces that will be a huge addition to the program.
Mike Mullis with us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. NCAA has allowed 5 years to play 5 now. How much does that change roster construction in the immediate future?
I don't know, P. it's been so suggestive for so many years that you had 5 to play 4. And then we saw guys getting, 6, 7 years through COVID and different things. And so we would think that COVID, the COVID reason is obviously behind us. But it just seems like if a kid in a family and an institution want a player to have an extra year or circumvent whatever the rule may be, it's just a matter of the attorneys finding the right judge, and they seem to be able to make it work out. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see in the long term, if this is a long term, to see kind of how this thing bears out over all sports. And then you got the other side with the suggested model coming from Major League Baseball as part of the collective bargaining agreement that would reduce the draft to 10 rounds and eliminate high school players from going in the draft, but allow players to leave college after 2 seasons. So, so many moving parts, and who knows if that's even going to be ratified. That being obviously we know the 5 for 5 is a done deal. But if the other part that come in, suggestively through the CBA, if that, who knows if that even becomes a thing. And so again, I think it's just an ever evolving landscape. Probably one more reason for people to have a distaste for college athletics as we continue to see this. At one point you could kind of call it an evolution, but I think an evolution implies it takes a while, right? It evolves over time. I think we're looking at a absolutely microwave mutation of what we once knew to be college athletics.
You bring up what MLB is doing, and I don't think, we talk about how radically things have changed with college athletics, and they have. But when you look at pro baseball, and I'm talking all the way down from kind of the top to the minor leagues, there's been huge changes at that level. There's been changes already to the draft. We're proposing more changes to the draft. I mean, you're looking at situations now where it would seem like that sport is radically getting an overhaul. And I think the jury's still very much out on how those changes are going to take root and how successful they're going to be. I mean, inevitably they'll be successful. MLB, in some respects, is too big to fail, although they're staring a work stoppage right in the face. All that said, how will that reduced draft change things and really limit opportunity more than anything?
I think maybe this is more of a concern than an actual. This is what I think is going to happen. As I watch the game, and again, talking with people all over the place that are out there day in day out, it's the game of baseball is changing so dramatically. It really is starting to not even resemble itself. And again, excuse me, let's just look at the College World Series and one type of play in particular. How many times did we see Division I players at the highest level of the game have issues communicating to catch fly balls? It seemed to be almost an epidemic in the College World Series. We saw several collisions, numerous things that are base fundamental, taught way back. It's something that you would see it certainly, but you wouldn't see it in the volume that we saw it in the College World Series. So I use that as an example to say, are the people at the top of the game in an effort to protect the product that's going out there, as well as the financial considerations, and maybe I did that backwards. Are they looking at the fact that there are more quote unquote baseline talented guys? So guys are throwing harder, exit velos are up, they're bigger, stronger. We know all these things. Now it's arguable: is it just better tools of measurement, or is it really this significant of an increase? I think the jury's still out on that. But are the people at the top seeing that, we may just not have enough high caliber players to quantify trying to grow these guys through the minor league system?
A couple of weeks ago, Father's Day, I went to the new new to me, ballpark in Fayetteville. I realize it's been there a few years. And it has kind of changed, probably that downtown for the better. Pretty heavy lift. But, I look at that seems like it's pretty successful. Now, I just, these communities have invested so much money in rehabilitating stadiums or building new stadiums. The business model at that minor league level now seems awfully tough to me, Mike.
Well, and it's not just the minor league level. You look at the explosion, the growth in like the Coastal Plains League, a collegiate summer league. You've seen pop-up leagues, and I say pop-up. They've been around now for a number of years, the ECBL, and it just seems like every year around December, we're seeing these teams that are, being introduced into different areas. And, but at the highest level of the collegiate summer game, the Cape, the Valley, maybe even the Alaskan League, those places are trying to just maintain rosters. They're over recruiting. I saw a story literally earlier today. A coach up in the Valley was talking about, he goes, man, I got a bigger roster, or more names on my roster than I've ever had, because I don't know who's going to be here, who's coming out here for basically their own personal exhibition, to have an opportunity to be picked up because they're in the portal. I don't know. Again, Pete, to your point, and I think where you're going with this is, what is the sustainability of it all, and when do you just have an absolute overload of fair to Midland baseball? And I don't know what the answer is. I think there's probably some type of balance between less than good baseball and cheap beer. And I don't know exactly where that is, but at the end of the day, the minor league environment is so little about the game and so much about the entertainment of a beer and a hot dog and socialization and kind of hanging out. So I don't know where that break even point is, and who ends up on what side of it. I can tell you that when you look at like the crowd in Kinston, and if you look at the travel, you look at that league as a whole, it's almost amazing that anybody makes it for more than a couple years based off of what you see kind of commensurate with attendance. So I guess they got to sell a lot of ads and do the best they can to offset costs wherever they can. And again, I think that's why you're seeing some of the other things, especially at the affiliated pro level, where even discussion about putting a cap on what you can give to an undrafted free agent, the suggested cap by ownership is $10,000. So I think you have a lot of players that probably make a decision to go on with life as opposed to, take the $10,000 and give it a shot. So I don't know. It kind of reminds me, as we saw the NFL grow as a league, adding a couple teams. It's been a number of years back, but it seems like every since that, it just further amplified the deficiency at, for example, the quarterback position. So, I don't know if we're seeing some of that maybe Major League Baseball is, number one, obviously trying to increase profit by cutting expense. But number two, are they somewhere going, hey, we just don't know that there's enough talent to sustain, and the talent that we're bringing in, we can bring in from other than the United States and get them at a little more of a premium dollar. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting, man. It's, again, the evolution or mutation, if you will, to use my earlier reference, is blatant. And those of us that have spent a lifetime in the game, it's very, very obvious that the game of baseball is a little bit in trouble. Unless you go down to Elm Street Park and you watch the purest form of it with the little leaguers, or go out to Sarah Law and watch those young ladies perform, that's where it still puts a little joy in your heart.
We're looks like we're barreling head on into a work stoppage in MLB, and yet here MLB is talking expansion. That's been the hot talk here in North Carolina, and and I'll bet there's as equal as in. I mean, and really Raleigh, outside of this kind of local push, you don't ever see it really strongly considered in reputable articles. It maybe gets in some clickbait articles, but it seemed like they were ramping up for a push, and all that seems it's for naught now. The other part of this is, in some ways, I mean, it's going to be multi-billion dollars to enter into expansion. Whoever the ownership is, they're going to have to pay an entry fee that is just out of sight. In some ways, the math ain't mathin', but I guess there's a reason they're going to expand, and there's a reason it seems like they're pining for this.
Yeah, expansion that baffles me too, especially as I just made this whole argument that the talent level overall is a little questionable. I think relocation. There are teams that obviously that have become right to mind because they're the one that are talked about for this area. But there are teams that I don't know how they keep the lights on. I don't know how they meet payroll. But when you look at the value of the franchise, because of what every other house in the neighborhood is doing, the value of the franchise still continues to go up. So I think at some point, these ownership groups look at it like, hey, yeah, we may have to, interject or inject so much cash right now, but if we can do this for another couple years, even our less than desirable asset is still worth exponentially more than we ever paid for it or have invested in it. Again, because it's the comps in the neighborhood, and there just aren't but so many Major League Baseball teams to go around. So there's always going to be value in supply and demand, I guess, at its finest.
Hey, Mully, thanks a lot. Do appreciate it. Enjoy your summer. We'll talk to you again really soon.
Yeah. Good to see you guys, and I appreciate it. See you soon.
All right, Mike Mullis with us here. We'll wrap up today's show next.
And now, the stunning conclusion. Why is everyone screaming? On 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back to the Patrick Johnson Show. Wrapping it up for today. Tomorrow, Travis Hancock, T-Bone, will be on with us, so looking forward to that. We are looking like we're going to have the Billy Trott interview on the Pete Maravich book near the end of the week, Thursday, but more than likely Friday is what it's looking like right now. Just kind of a fluid schedule here this week. Who says nothing's going on in the summer, but there you have it. So that's kind of where we are with everything. So that's the plan. We'll be back tomorrow, talk about some of the goings on in the Charlotte area with the Hornets and the Panthers with our friend Travis Hancock from WFNZ. See you tomorrow, Patrick Johnson Show.